Hey folks, and welcome to the second episode of the Red Shirt Report, brought to you by StackUp.org, where veterans are our mission and gaming is our passion. My name is Chris Clue Miller.
And I'm Chris the Game Case, aka Cuddles Case.
Yeah, you got your cue this time. That's excellent. We are going to be going over a couple things tonight. The first of which is the just some bullet points from the boardroom meeting, which occurred just prior to this report. And we'll have a couple interesting game-related articles to discuss among ourselves and hopefully be engaging and entertaining at the same time. So first off, we'll go right into the boardroom highlights. The first thing that we like to talk about is there are new items in the StackUp store. These include new shirts, lanyards, wristbands, things like this. The new Designed by Humans jerseys will be in there, and lots of other stuff. So if you have an interest in getting any of your StackUp swag on, by all means, hit the StackUp.org website, go to the store, and purchase stuff. It's good stuff.
Right on. We also learned that on Friday, with the drop of the Dauntless, what is it? It's the closed beta, right?
I think it is.
We're going to be organizing with our Red Shirt Raiders a whole bunch of Dauntless action. If you guys haven't heard about Dauntless, go look it up on the interwebs right now. This game is going to be absolutely incredible in the style of Monster Hunter, epic battles, friends all fighting together, these giant fantastical creatures. Everything that I've seen about this game, having talked to the devs now 2 or 3 times, I am super excited about.
Excellent. Finally, there's a couple other, let's see. So there's a contest coming up for veterans only. We want you to send us a picture of your streaming rig. Whatever that looks like, send that off to StackUp.org. And if you are chosen, you could get cool stuff. I'm not sure what we're going to be giving out, but it's going to be good stuff. So if your picture is chosen, prepare to be surprised with nifty things in your mailbox. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and kick it off to our first article. For any of you who are out there who enjoy playing Dota, there was a interesting little thing that came out from an institute called OpenAI. This is financed by Elon Musk. So the OpenAI Institute obviously has a AI software, AI package that they are designing, and they unleashed it on Dota, and they unleashed it specifically on professional gamers. One of the reigning Dota champs, Daniel Ishutin, was pitted against the OpenAI bot and lost 3 consecutive matches in a row. Now, so the interesting thing about the AI itself is that it's learning. So it isn't based upon just the amount of complexity and the amount of computational effort that's required for an AI to learn, and not only learn, but also play effectively a game like Dota, Defense of the Ancients, for those of you who don't know, is not an insignificant feat. So, on one hand, you might be thinking that that's a really interesting. I mean, it is interesting in the sense that the AI is teaching itself how to play this game, but it's not. To me, it's not terribly surprising that the AI wins. The AI also had access to some of the game AI APIs. So whenever it encounters something outside of its experience, it always has something else to kind of back up against. But the fact that it's able to teach itself a game as complex as like one of these MOBAs is a huge thing. So I guess what we're looking at is, Skynet, the beginnings of Skynet, but just in the gaming space. Now, interestingly, after those initial bouts where Daniel was defeated by the OpenAI algorithms, subsequent gameplay sessions actually had the AI being beat. And that was evidenced by some of the other players using tactics that just weren't, that the AI hadn't approached before, I guess, or wasn't quite aware of. And I guess one of the things that it was talking about in the article was that some of the tactics that the other players used to actually defeat the AI were mechanisms that were used that could easily have been defeated by an amateur player. But I guess they just weren't used. So what do you think about this, Cuddles? The whole idea of AI that learns and learns complexly. Like, this isn't just chess. I mean, chess is complex in and of itself in the sense that there's a certain number of moves and there's a certain amount of inherent complexity with the game and the rules. But a MOBA, that's something else entirely, I think.
Yeah, it really is, because one of the things that, like, my first response, and I'll be perfectly honest, when we went over this pre-show and I saw this article, I was like, so what? It's Deep Blue. Like, it's Deep Blue playing Kasparov, or this is something that's gone on in the chess sphere for quite some time. However, chess, what you do have to react to the other players' responses. At the end of the day, there's a finite number of moves, and it really runs down to the computational power of the machine and the information that it has at hand as far as past games and the play of the player and things of that nature. With a MOBA, with every game being just a little bit different, even if a player has his own play style, they're going to rank differently, they're going to level up their weapons differently. I'm not intimately familiar with Dota, but Dota has always been explained. Heroes has been explained to me. Heroes of the Storm has been explained as League of Legends for people that don't want to learn League of Legends. And then League of Legends is for people who don't want to learn Dota. So Dota being the pinnacle of it, I can only imagine the permutations of equipment and characters and all the things that go on within a MOBA. You're talking about some very complex computing. As to, is it surprising that this has happened? Computational power is growing exponentially, and while this may not be the first fingerlings of Skynet, I think we've probably already seen that. This is an incredible accomplishment, and I love that Elon Musk was just sitting around going, "Hey, I want to beat people in MOBAs." I think that was the absolute coolest part of this story for me. That Elon Musk just, another cool thing that he's up to.
I wonder if Elon is a closet gamer. Like, maybe he's not good. Like, that would be the rationale for me. Like, if I were writing this AI, I'd be like, I suck at this game and I'm pissed off because all of these people trounce me. I'm gonna freaking write an AI and kick your ass. Now, it is interesting to note also that the arena, as it were, was a 1v1, and they were using specific characters. So there weren't the changes that you were talking about, right? Where you can select different weapons and different characteristics and different players and different kind of loadouts and that sort of thing. They were very archetyped. So to me, that tells me that there's still some room for improvement, not to take away from the entire the cool factor of having this AI learn from itself. And that was another thing, is how it learned was essentially, according to the article, played a quote unquote lifetime's worth of games against itself. So it has a lot of practical experience to draw from. So that's kind of like what I do when I play games. Like, I find one character that I really enjoy, and then I just play that character. I get really good with it, but I suck with everything else. So So this AI and I have a couple things in common. Not the least of which is it's probably a whole hell of a lot better at playing games than I am. So let's move on. So we have something else, Cuddles, that we want to introduce tonight.
Yes, we do. We have a segment that all of us are very excited to introduce, called Ask a Vet. Now, for those that are unaware, I am a civilian. Clue is a veteran. And we did this very purposefully in casting this show so that we could kind of show the two sides of this. Because while Stack Up is a charity that obviously we're focused on active duty and veteran members of the military, we have a lot of civilian support and a lot of civilian volunteers that help us out in various aspects of our organization. So we wanted to introduce this as an opportunity to explore some questions that civilians may have for veterans. Now, our first question this week, actually, to be perfectly honest, came from me. And it is it okay for civvies to wear vet culture apparel? Now, if you're wondering what we mean by that, things from, say, grunt style or Ranger Up, things that will show a military style logo, or maybe even have the reverse flag on the arm, similar to how a military uniform would have a patch on their arm. Things that you could be easily mistaken by a civilian that would think that possibly you had served. Specifically, my question stemmed from a grunt style shirt that, quite frankly, the design on the shirt has zero to do with the military. It's a shirt with a Jeep on it. But on this one sleeve, it says grunt style. On the other side, it has the flag that looks like a uniform patch. I'm nervous. Can I wear this? What happens when I go up to Dave, our veteran coordinator, who is a Marine? Is he gonna be like, take that off? What's the general consensus here? And then with that, what's overstepping the line? Because if that's okay, what's not? Clue?
Sure. Well, thanks for asking. Just to kind of give everyone else a little bit of a background of my service. I was in the Army. I was a 4-year active duty infantryman. I had served time in various theaters. But I also want to make the disclaimer that this is my personal opinion, and this does not necessarily reflect the opinions or ideas of Stack Up. This is just me. So your mileage may vary with regards to your veteran. For me personally, I don't have a problem with civilians wearing a military style apparel. It's certainly not. It's happened quite a lot in history. I mean, this isn't something new. And quite frankly, I think that it shows support, because a lot of these apparel retailers, being veterans themselves, are supporting vets. So by virtue of you buying and wearing this, it's not only showing a respect and I think a certain amount of reverence for the armed services, but it's supporting these veterans who are trying to run businesses. So in that respect, good on you, man. I mean, I think that's a good idea. Now, there's a line. Now, and where's the line? The line is if somebody comes up to you and says something like, "Oh, hey, man, thanks for your service." That's the litmus, right? So if you're not a veteran, you can say something to the effect of, "Hey, I appreciate your appreciation, but I'm not a veteran, but I really respect those guys, and that's why I wear this." Or something similar to that. I don't think that veterans will get terribly upset unless you decide to represent yourself in a way that is contrary to their ideals. In other words, don't lie about what it is that you've done, or if you are a service person or a prior service or a veteran, or not, if you're a civilian. But I don't think that there's anything in particular that's bad in wearing that sort of paraphernalia. Now, here's a question for you. Do you know why, when you have that the patch, why the American flag looks like it's reversed? You know why that is?
I actually do not.
Here's a good one. So the reason it looks like it's in reverse is because the American flag is always on the advance. The colors don't run, right? So if it were on a flagpole and it were flying, if you were running, if you were moving towards the enemy or towards, an objective, that flag would be flying in that way. So the stars and stripes are always, or the stars are always on the flagpole. So that's the reason why it looks like it's reversed, is because the colors don't run. They always advance to the enemy. So there's a little bit of trivia for you as well, right? That's kind of a good little tidbit. Where it goes over the line is when you start wearing uniforms. I think that's really the big one, right? If you're wearing like a BDU jacket and you're wearing, Master Gunner and Airborne and Halo and Scuba and a Ranger patch with Special Forces, and drill instructor rockers. That's really going over the top, right? That is a stolen valor case. But if you're just wearing T-shirts, or little things that that are kind of cool little sayings, or that sort of thing, I think that's perfectly fine. Just don't go walking around in a uniform.
Beautiful. I think that answers just about every aspect of the question. Guys, we are going to we're going to go ahead and move into our next article, which I'm going to hand off to Clue in just a moment. But before I do, we've dropped a link in the chat. And if anyone would like to, we're going to leave this up and put it in the comments, or put it in our show notes section on YouTube. Please answer. We have a straw poll up. What are your thoughts? Is somebody wearing a vet culture apparel? Is that stolen valor? Or is it just okay? What do you guys think? We'd love to hear your responses. But Clue, what's our next article?
So the next article has to do with one of the things that I think are near and dear to Stack Up's heart, is the therapeutic aspect of gaming. So this article comes to us from a research laboratory called Neuroscape from the University of California, San Francisco, where they've been working on diagnosing and treating certain mental disorders and mental diseases for the past 8 years. Alzheimer's, ADHD, that sort of thing. They have a project called Project Evo, which is currently in medical trials, that is looking to FDA approval to demonstrate the therapeutic aspects of video gaming for those sorts of things. The mental elasticity and being able to stimulate people who have mental deficiencies or attention deficit disorders, that sort of thing. Like this study is specifically tailored to how video games and are able to assist with the alleviation of those sorts of symptoms. And we've talked about this, I think, quite a bit at Stack Up, and particularly if any of you have watched any of our air assault videos, or any of the videos of some of the veterans, and from their own words, what the power of video games and gaming is, and what it holds for people not only suffering from Alzheimer's, which is a terrible disease, or ADHD, but also post-traumatic stress disorder. I imagine there's a lot of other deficiencies or issues or problems that people have from a mental standpoint, that gaming can really help with. So that's what this article is about. So imagine if the FDA approves this, going to the doctor, and the doctor saying, you know what? I think that rather than giving you a pill, all right, here, take 3 of these. This is going to make you into a zombie. So, yeah, you might be depressed, or you might have ADHD, or there might be some other problems that you're trying to deal with, rather than just, make you into a zombie. Maybe your doctor can prescribe you some, go home and go play this game. Maybe they have particular games, and the study doesn't specify, but maybe there are particular games that you could play that would help to treat these sorts of deficiencies or these sorts of mental issues. Man, that would be great. Can you imagine going to work or like, no, let's say you have a breakdown. There's just something going wrong in your life that you need, to go to the hospital, or you have to have a mental health professional come and help you with, and being able to call into work. And I don't mean to make light of it. I mean, I'm a vet, right? There's the caveat to that. We kind of have a brave humor. But being able to call into work and say, I'm having a really bad day. I need a mental health day, and I need to play some Call of Duty. Would that be awesome?
That would be absolutely wonderful. And I think you touched on it. Like, I can't speak as to the science and the neurology, and like I'm not a brain doctor fixer guy. You can tell by my very eloquent words here. But what I can say is, anecdotally, the experiences that we have on a daily basis with Stack Up and with the veterans that we service, I don't know how many times, I cannot count the amount of times that I've had one of our vets tell me, including our founder, in fact, that at some point video games saved their life. That is something that I think the mainstream medical community is very quick to dismiss. Oh yeah, video games.
Right. It's kind of, yeah, and exactly.
Me and Buffy will be down at the country club. Golf is how I relax. Video games are for children. Put those away.
Right.
But this is, to see this sort of research going on and to see these sort of acknowledgments happening in the medical community and in the scientific community at large is incredible, amazing, and I will stop just shy of standing up and applauding them because my webcam can't track me if I stand up. But no, this is incredible, in the future that this may mean for those that struggle, and not just our veterans, but those of us, me included, that struggle with some form of mental illness or disease or whatever they're calling it these days. Those that are struggling with anything, this could be absolutely groundbreaking, and change the landscape of psychotherapy and psychology as a whole.
Well,
so,
the other thing they're trying to do is, this isn't supposed to be a replacement to the pharmaceutical company, right? I wish it were. I really do, because I know some of those drugs and psychotropics and things like that have really some bad side effects. And I really wish that it could be just, prescription for, here's, go play game X for 3 hours, every other day or something like that, and voila. Unfortunately, it's not a fix, a complete replacement for that. But you're absolutely right, Cuddles, in that it's good that there's actually there's a scientific community out there that's taking video games and the therapeutic value of it seriously. And to my way of thinking, if there's any mechanism that you can use that helps, I mean, even like, people kind of hem and haw about things like aromatherapy or, acupuncture or, just things. My thought is, if it works, it's not a stupid, you can't say it's a stupid idea if it works, right? Yep. So that's my thought. And going back to what you're talking about specifically, hopefully it will be, video gaming will be less of a, less of something that people look down at you for playing, and rather something that can be seen for its merits and its ability to, for relaxation, just like any other kind of sport or hobby,
Yeah, and that's exactly where it should be. And I can say nothing but kudos to the medical and scientific community for realizing something that we have known for quite some time. But I think I'd like to move on, and I'd like to talk about something rather interesting. We don't have an article to read about this one because this was something that happened organically. Or let me use air quotes with organically, because I have some theories about that. Over on twitch.tv, Jambo became an absolute internet sensation. For those that want to look him up, it's twitch.tv, JAM_BO. This gentleman is extremely Scottish. Not like he's Scottish in that every American that goes to Scotland claims that they're Scottish. He lives in Scotland, speaks with an accent that most Americans will probably only understand every third word of. And he was streaming late one night this week, and by his own admission, had a little bit too much he indulged a little bit too much in the adult libations, so shall we say. His bed is within view of his camera, and evidently at some point he made his way back to his bed, laid down, and went to sleep. Well, what he didn't do was turn his stream off. So Jambo at the time had around 10, 12 followers, and over the course of the night, the stream ran for about 6-7 hours of Jambo sleeping, and someone from a game company by the name of Devolver Digital found Jambo sleeping on Twitch. Devolver decided to take advantage of this opportunity and tweeted out a link to Jambo's profile, and they said, hey, some random guy is sleeping on Twitch. We'll be giving away keys to our new game in his channel. Now, Devolver Digital has a Twitter following of around 95,000 people. So Jambo's chat went from no one to well over 800 people in a matter of moments. Devolver Digital is dropping codes. Twitch staff showed up. Twitch admins were in there. It was really this amazing moment. Everyone had all these theories. Is he okay? Oh my gosh, look, there's a bottle of pills up on his, what we thought was a refrigerator. Turned out to be a dresser. What's going on? What happened? Because the majority of these people weren't there when he fell asleep. We had no idea what was going on. And then, as all of this is going on, there were some truly amazing moments in chat. But eventually, Jambo wakes up, and I believe we have a clip of Jambo waking up. Can we run that?
Oh my fucking god. Oh, fuck.
So, Jambo, as he wakes up, this is the result of about 15 minutes. Because I wanted to show this before I explained what led up to it. Jambo wakes up, kind of stumbles around, looks very confused, as one is when one wakes up after overindulging. Comes over to his computer, sits down, looks at chat, mumbles something, and then begins tearing apart his room, looking in his drawers. This is when we find out his fridge was really a dresser. Looking at drawers, looking underneath things, flipping up covers, doing everything he can, presumably, us, the Twitch viewers, think looking for his headset or microphone so that he could talk to the chat. Eventually, he sits down at the table, puts on his headset, and says, "I'm looking for my breakfast wine. Where is my breakfast wine? You used to be my friend." And then takes it off, sets his headset down. It was a Vive, like an Oculus. So he's using the microphone in it. Sets it back down, and then proceeds to. He eventually finds his wine. It's sitting next to his chair. Spoiler alert. Sorry. And then the clip that you just watched happens.
Chug, 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 chug.
Well, he got a lot more coherent after that, and Devolver tweets out the clip that you just saw, followed with the tagline, "Legend."
At least I got chicken. He's the new Leroy Jenkins of the stream world.
Well, the stream ended up like everyone reacts, and they're oh, he's awake, what's going on, and then it kind of it evolved into him opening up emotionally and kind of having a little bit of a breakdown about the things that were going on in his life and why he had been drinking like that and why he still was. And all of a sudden Twitch chat went from gently mocking him to being his best friend and really being there for him.
That's incredible. That's good stuff.
What were your thoughts? Because I know you saw the very beginning, the pre-waking up of the Jambo legend.
I did. When I went in there, and it was later last night, it was over 700 people in that channel. And there was a lot of that sort of thing going on. It was all pretty, for anybody who's done any sort of online research, or anybody who's gone through like comment sections, or any place where people have the opportunity to comment anonymously about whatever it is that they happen to be on, people tend to be really bad. I mean, they tend to be really horrible people. I didn't see any of that. It was fun. I mean, it was kind of mocking, but it wasn't mean, and it wasn't evil, and it was good-natured fun at this guy's expense. But it was funny. It was just, there was a lot of good humor involved with it, and to see that many people just hanging out, having a good time, just kind of playing with this guy's chat. I wonder, and I don't know, maybe you've done some research on this. I don't know to what extent this guy has much of a following as a baseline. Like, is he normally like a big streamer, or is he just like a nobody?
He started out, when I got into the chat very early on, within minutes of Devolver tweeting this, I just happened to see, the tweet. And he had 22 followers, but there were 600 people in his chat when I got there. So, and from watching some of his VODs, he may have had 1 or 2 or 3 viewers throughout the entire course of the 12 or 13 VODs that he had up. He was a very new / very low followed streamer. This is not this isn't a Tim the Tat Man falling asleep on stream and the internet erupting. This was very much a viral sensation that we got to see unfold happen right before our eyes. I think when we originally started talking about this, I think the story was, hey, guy falls asleep and cool thing happens. But I think the really interesting story, and something to bring this back around to Stack Up, something that we see happen in our own communities, is these people could have been horrible to him. Like you alluded to this, the internet is usually a very mean place, but they joked with him. There were jokes. There was, oh, Jambo, take another drink. Where's your breakfast wine? But that quickly turned as the kind of the emotionalness and like the situation really evolved. Twitch chat turned into this wonderful, loving, like consoling support system for him. And how many times have we seen that happen within Stack Up and within Red Shirt Raiders? Especially, Clue alluded to it a little bit earlier. Sometimes the veteran sense of humor can be a little bit off center. And that's just the way veterans interact. You'll occasionally hear something like that out of me because I hang out with these guys all the time. And it kind of rubs off, but the good-natured ribbing, the kind of abrasive humor, it's all part of it. But in the same way that Twitch chat was kind of there, anytime there's an actual need, gears get shifted immediately. And support, help, and care is given. And I think that's the magic of Jambo's situation and the magic of what we see daily here.
You've never fallen asleep ever on your stream, have you?
I have. Okay, so I will admit this fully. I have fallen asleep twice on my stream. Once because of over-imbibing. Another time because of pure exhaustion. And I will say it was perfect. I was finishing up, I was playing Hearthstone, and even if you don't know the game, this will make sense. I was finishing a particular mission, we'll call it. For those that know, it was a rogue class challenge. The moment, I was struggling to stay awake throughout all of it, but it took all of my core. I knew that I was going to finish this. I said that I was going to do it. It popped up on screen that I finished it, and I said, yay. My eyes closed with the closing of that word. As that word trailed off, my eyes closed, my face relaxed, and I was sleeping on my microphone within moments.
Fade to black. Friggin' the movie is over.
You stream long enough on Twitch. It may or may not happen to you.
Sure. But
it's a thing.
Yeah. No worries. Hey, it's all good nature, and it's you were doing it for a good cause. So that's actually a really good segue. We'll fade that segment off into black. And so earlier in the segment, we started talking about the Ask a Vet and whether or not it was appropriate for civilians to wear military-style garb. We threw up a poll up in the chat for you to sound off and tell us what you thought. We have the results for that right now. So of the 30 votes that were cast, so for those of you who can't see it, the question is it okay for civilians to wear vet culture apparel? Now that's not necessarily like uniforms and stuff, just cultured apparel. Yes, it's okay, it is not a uniform, or no, it is not okay, stolen valor. Of the 30 votes, there were 18 in the affirmative. In other words, 18 votes thought it is okay and appropriate for civilians to wear vet culture apparel, and 12 that voted in the no. I was actually surprised that there were that many no votes. I didn't think that it was that much of an issue. At least, again, for me, you're depending on who it is you're talking to and what the experiences of the particular vet that you encounter, your mileage may vary. But that was kind of I was not anticipating that result. I was anticipating a more skewed result towards, yeah, it's fine. What do you think?
This was my honest question, and this was kind of my as a civilian working very closely, or actually working for a military-based charity right now, it's so easy when I'm walking around with Dave, a Marine, and some of our air assaults that are wounded veterans, and we're all wearing the same shirts. It's like, hey, we're Stack Up. I'm Dave. I'm a Marine. That is totally not how Dave talks. Please, Dave, don't kick my ass. But as everybody goes around and introduces themselves, and I believe Scatch actually had expressed something very similar like this to me that had happened to him at San Diego Comic-Con. People will go down the line and go, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service." And then they'll come to me and thank me. And I'm like, no. I'm here because I respect what these guys do. And
I have something. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, please.
I was asked to show something, and I want to show that. And this is a really good example. So I have this hat. So this is one of my hats that I often wear to gaming conventions and that sort of thing. And it's the USS Sulaco hat, right? Now, for those of you who are Aliens fans, that you recognize that's that ship. And I would wear this, and I would often get sailors, Navy vets, saying thank you for your service, or they'd come up to me and they look at this hat and be like, "What ship is that?" And so I would have to say, right, well, I'm a vet, but I'm not a naval vet. And I would explain this is from a movie and that sort of thing. So I imagine that if you were up front with whatever it was that you were wearing, like I said, your mileage may vary. Some people don't like it. Other people don't have a problem with it. But case in point. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I totally cut you off.
Well, no. I think I may be over concerned with it, but we can see from our poll, maybe I'm not. It looks like I won't be getting my grunt style shirt. Because that's enough. That the last thing that I want to do by wearing a t-shirt is get in a fight with a veteran that thinks that I'm trying to claim to be them.
Sure.
That's not worth it to me. The shirt, quite frankly, is absolutely hilarious. It has a Jeep on it. I think it's funny. But it's not worth it to me if it's going to end up putting me in a bad situation with somebody that I respect.
Sure.
So looks like I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, and it's true what they say, discretion is the better part of valor. So, folks, if you have a question that you would like to ask a vet, please submit it. Let us know what it is, and maybe we'll feature it on the next episode of the Red Shirt Report. Don't forget, if you are a gamer and you want to do gaming stuff with civilians and vets with Stack Up, join us for our Red Shirt raids. We play all sorts of different games. We've been playing PUBG. I think they're in there right now playing Lawbreakers, right? I think they're going to start getting when the God, I keep wanting to say Destiny. It's not Destiny.
Dauntless.
Jeez, Pete. For some reason, just Destiny keeps coming to my Dauntless. So the Dauntless 2. No, Dauntless is coming out, and I know that we want to get hot and heavy on that. The Red Shirt Raiders is going to really be, shut up, stop laughing at me. So
we're going to play Pokemon Sun and Moon next week.
I'm going to strangle you. So if you want to get involved, we would encourage you to do so. Vets, civilians, gamers, lend us your controllers. Until next time, folks, stack TF up.
See you next time.
See you next time.